Is the Saturday afternoon that I get to see you every Saturday. I'm Kim Stanwood Terranova here at the Rythmia Life Advancement Center. It's a beautiful day. I have two beautiful souls with me today that I'm very honored they said yes. This is Chad and Brittany from Utah, and we're going to hear all about their miraculous week. So thank you for joining us. Thank you two for joining. I'm going to sit right here so I'm squeezing in next to you.
Do you need more room?
Nope, I'm good right there. How are you guys?
Tired, but happy. I'm amazed that I have so much energy today. Yeah.
Because you know you're tired, but you still have energy.
Yes. Because this week has been in all ways social, emotional, spiritual, physically taxing and purifying. And so I assumed I would just be wiped out. But I feel happy and peaceful and excited to go home. I feel energetic.
Brittany,
and that
those
surprises
were
me.
great words. Those were beautiful words.
Thank you.
What was your intention, the two of you, of coming here? You could tell me individually or both of you.
So we had totally different intentions, but ended up doing the same thing. We both, both of our healings were focused on ancestral healing and lineage repair. And I didn't expect that at all. So
you didn't come with that?
No.
I did.
Brittany did.
But, remember that.
Yeah.
What was your initial, what was getting you here?
I wanted to heal from like my own traumas. I felt very, I don't even know the word for it, like disconnected emotionally since I was about 9. And I expected to heal, and I did heal partially of that, and still had a miracle I consider from getting over some of my own garbage and my own trauma. But most of the work that I experienced was healing ancestral trauma. And after speaking with the shaman on the final ceremony, he gave me some homework to go do to mend relationships and to do some work with my parents and my grandparents, and then to come back again to start working on myself once the work has been cleared.
Beautiful. And that's a really important thing to remember, is that at Rythmia, we have the safe place for you to come with your intentions, and then they grow and change. And more gets seen. You get to see from the inside out to, I'm really going to also heal this.
Right.
Which is beautiful.
Which I didn't have any consideration that was even a problem that was causing some of the issues that I have. But now it all just clicked. Being on the medicine for a week, everything just clicked. And what you said about safety was a huge element of us choosing to come to Rythmia. Initially, we actually booked at a facility in Iquitos, Peru. And fortunately, that didn't work out. But like we gave them the thumbs up, and everything was good to go.
Ready to swipe the card.
No, we did. We gave them the credit card, and then they didn't approve Brittany for some migraine considerations. But I recognized that was a good thing, and that we needed to find a different place. So we did more research, found Rythmia, and was so grateful to come have this experience in a very safe resort instead of some dark hut in the middle of the jungle.
That's so important.
Maybe something I want to do way later once I've had more experience, but definitely not for me in the beginning.
I don't know that I will ever do a full ayahuasca experience without a team of shaman. I can tell for me that's what I need. Partially just so I feel extra safe and cared for, but also because there's so much that I don't understand that they are gifted enough to see and understand.
Yeah. That was so helpful for me. I love that. And I love that you know that, that it was a good thing that got canceled and you got here. That's trust. You two have a lot of trust. How long have you been together?
6 years.
Yeah. He proposed 6 years ago today.
Oh my goodness. This is so great. 6 years ago today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
I love that. That's beautiful. And you'll be back, you're saying?
Yes.
Probably in September.
Let's talk about that. I was so excited to rebook, and I decided to rebook days ago. But on the way to our final class, Brittany was like, I don't know if I will, because you were feeling
scared.
And scared, and what was the other one? Uncertain.
Hesitant of what the future could bring, because I'm just kind of amazed I got through the week and processed so much, and I wasn't ready or willing to do that again. But then he said, he coached me through
with the same methods that we learned this week.
Which is something I'm so grateful for, because we did plenty of medicine this week, but we also had so much therapy and education. And I feel like I'm walking away with the tools and ability to process things in my life now. So he started asking me, and walking me through the therapeutic healing questions to help me recognize what I was experiencing and process it. And by the time we got to the class, I was like, okay, yeah, I see how this emotion I'm feeling right now is because of this type of experience that I've had, and it's just keeping me from experiencing more healing.
Yes.
So I can learn how to process that. I have 6 months to do it, and I'll be back. So
I
it was
love
good. It was good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, speak to the other elements of Rythmia that you appreciated. I love that you said the classes. Those were so
Yes,
important in the
so
incorporation
important.
of what you were catching, right?
Mhm.
How do you feel about our breath work?
Oh, so good.
I have been around things like this
Mhm.
for years.
And do you
And it
mean
was
just therapeutic?
Yeah, so I've been around
tools?
plant medicine things for
Mhm.
years. I've been around breath work. My sister is a breath work instructor,
Yes.
and she's incredible. I've been around massage. I've been around
We have a
therapy
huge
work.
tub in our backyard that is full of ice, and he
Yeah.
ice baths
so
all
you
the
do that
time.
all
Right, right. So
Beautiful.
like the only element that I wasn't familiar with was actually sitting with ayahuasca. But even before that, we have microdosed Banisteriopsis caapi for years,
Mhm.
right? So all of these things that were here, I had experience with
Mhm.
at different levels, but they were
Yes.
never put together like this
Mhm.
in a formula that actually caused real change,
Yeah.
right? I continued doing all those
Mhm.
things separately because I felt like little micro benefits
Mhm.
from doing it,
Mhm.
but doing it all in this formula
Mhm.
that the moon has put together for
Yes,
us is
yes.
like it is magical.
Yeah.
Like everything just came together in a way that actually worked for me.
Yes. And that's, as you know, extremely intentional.
Yeah.
Like we have created it for that reason, that we could been able to track, oh, what is that perfect mix that the moon is guiding us to create. So to hear you say this is a very good fulfilled intention for us.
Well, today we did the stem cell treatment.
Beautiful.
And I expected to just be sitting there with an IV in my arm, but they did a guided meditation at the same time. And this is our 6th day here. I don't know. It's the end of our week here. So we've done a lot of treatment, a lot of healing. And during that guided meditation, that's where I had a ton of revelation, all these downloads. It started like boom, 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 clicking in. And that's where I got all of my energy, because I all of a sudden feel like I have direction and purpose, and I have executable things that I know what I need to do when I go home. And I wasn't
I'm sorry, just
expecting
listen to
that.
this language. It's so brilliant. And the fact that you caught it in stem cell.
Which I wasn't prepared for, expecting at all, but yeah.
Because there's all these practices that get you open and available, and even when you're exhausted, something else comes, like rushing in to infuse you with another insight.
Yes.
Right.
You're going to be continuing to accept more insights every day because you two are so open and have done so much work, right? So how do you feel like your life is going to shift when you get home with all these insights and knowing you're going to be receiving more?
Let me go first on this one. That was a big concern for me because, like I said earlier, most of the healing I feel like I experienced for my ancestral line. I still had an incredible experience Tuesday night where I merged with my soul, and that sounded so hokey when I watched the YouTube video from
Jerry.
From Jerry. I couldn't remember his name. From Jerry. I that sounded so hokey. The intentions of show me who I become, merge with my soul, and heal my heart. And I'm just like, crap. I don't care about that. I want to heal this specific thing, right? So I had this beautiful soul merge on Tuesday, and then I spent the rest of the week just feeling ill and purging, and Taita, the shaman, explained that that's when I was working on my ancestral line, and that would clear things out for them and for me and my posterity, that I could then come back and do more work. So having a sliver of the miracle that I expected, but a massive miracle that I didn't expect.
Oh, well said.
A sliver of the miracle that I really came in here wanting. I had that concern of like, what am I going to do to go home and continue on this path? And it's less about what I'm going to do now, because I've already been doing breath work and meditation and these different things that are already part of my practice, right? And healthy living and cardio and things and exercise, but now I'm doing it with hope, right? I wasn't doing any of this with real hope.
Beautiful.
I was doing this with like a faint belief that I have garbage to deal with in my life and I need to do something about it. And these seem to be the things that are most effective. But now I feel hope that I can actually be who I want to be and change what I want to change without being held back by all these negative energies and traumas. Like So I'm not going to do anything different. I'm going to go home and do the same things I've been doing. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to do breath work. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to have good nutrition and diet, which I have a whole clearer perspective on what good nutrition actually is now after being here. I thought I was a pretty healthy guy, but I've lost like 6 or 7 pounds. I can tell just on my waistline from not eating things that I thought were healthy, but aren't, right? So that's going to be more refined, but I'm just going to keep doing the same things.
But you're
with
also
hope.
going to be doing that with the tools, the mental processes
with
and the understandings and intentions. Yeah.
Especially on what you mentioned, the different questions that I was asking you that, were more therapeutic, right? Because I got turned off to talk therapy 8 years ago, 10 years ago, because it didn't do anything for me. I hated it. Every time I would go to a group or go to a talk therapy session, I felt like it was just like nails on a chalkboard. It was painful. And now this week I've heard some of those same principles, and now it clicks on how healing is actually healthy and good, and it feels good. That healing doesn't have to feel bad, right?
Correct.
Healing feels good.
And if it feels bad, you're moving through something that just gets to,
Right.
be rolled right off of you to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness gracious, you two. Life is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And you're both glowing
so
about it. It's so brilliantly said.
I hadn't felt consistent outside of fleeting hope that would come in and out every now and then. I haven't felt consistent hope for decades.
Yeah. And it was
and now I do.
This was a blessing.
It's just a shift.
That's a massive shift to go from, I hadn't felt that, and now it's all of a sudden I know it.
It's more of a natural state.
Correct.
It's not something that I'm even seeking after.
Yes.
It just is.
Because it's your being state now. It's not something you're seeking. It's like, this is who I'm being. Which is why I love that you said, I'm not going to do more. I'm going to do what I've been doing, but from an energetic of I've shifted. So how you're being in your doing is going to be different.
Yeah,
totally.
Well, and for me, the way that I learned that this week is that I had some very difficult experiences on the medicine where I was being taught things where my body was experiencing and purging, and it didn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to throw up. But after I threw up, then there were moments where I just had clarity and peace and true bliss in a way that I don't know if I've ever felt, like a deep okayness. And I haven't been able to find that in my actual life. So feeling it here helped me understand that actually exists.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm allowed to feel that again. And I'm excited to go implement these practices in our life so that I can consistently feel that happiness that people talk about, but I never really felt.
Hope,
so
bliss,
cool.
Happiness. This is where you live now.
Yeah.
Oh
Trust.
my goodness. Yeah. I'm so grateful to you too. And I could just talk about everything you processed. And I also have to ask you things like, did you love the massage? Did you love our spa, our meals? Everything else was right up there.
Yeah.
Everything was so easy.
Like, and provided.
I showed up, went through an orientation, went to my room. My bags were all there. In fact, when we opened up the door, I said, "Oh, someone's already in here," because
and they were yours.
The bags were already there, right? So, like, everything was so easy. The meals were so perfectly prepared.
Yes.
Everything that we ate made me feel good and energized. Nothing made me feel sluggish. The breath work, the massage, the cold pools, the spa, everything was just fit. I mean, it's not surprising
there are so many tools
because of how perfectly everything else went this week.
Right.
But everything just fit perfectly together to create this incredible experience.
Miracles and overflow. Oh my goodness, I don't know how I could say it any better than this. You two are brilliant at your expression of what went through you this week.
It was
worked really hard to develop that.
Well, it shows. Thank you so much. What would you say to someone who's thinking about coming to Rythmia? They may not be sure. I'm sure after watching the two of you, they're like ready to sign up.
Man, I hope so.
Oh, thank you.
I hope
What
so.
would you say to someone who's like, oh my goodness, is it for me? What would you say? Someone on the fence.
At the beginning of this week, they asked us to write intentions about what we wanted to heal. And I just kept writing more and more and more. I had a huge list. And I remember looking at it and I was like, there's no way any of these are going to be touched. Like, these are so deep and like they feel like I feel like I am these struggles and these trials. There's no way. But if I get a miracle and one of them is fixed, that's worth it. And every single piece has been healed at a hugely deep level that I didn't even know existed. And I'm amazed that I'm still receiving all of these downloads and all of these understandings and awarenesses. And like, I could have made that list a million items long, and I think all of it would have been healed. And that might not be the experience everybody has. I truly think even if one thing is healed, that changes the way you approach everything else. And then it like dominoes and you can start healing everything else. But for me, I am so overwhelmed by how much understanding I have, and it just gives me so much peace. So I would say if you're thinking about it, and if there's any piece of you that feels called to it, you deserve and you owe it to yourself and your ancestors and your future people to heal this.
That was exquisite.
Yeah.
The whole list.
Because
The nothing's too big for spirit.
Yeah.
Nothing's
And Brittany
too big.
writes big lists.
I am a list person. And some of these things are things that like that doctors or other people say is impossible. Like I have been told that it's not going to happen. And it happens.
Please hear that. That's beautiful. That when the outside world, whether it's doctors, anyone of authority, can tell us that isn't, you can't heal that. That's not possible. Or psychiatrist, therapist, whoever.
Yeah.
And that your experiences, it is healable.
Mhm.
And when I said to you a moment ago, nothing's too big for spirit, it's like everything before us is an opportunity for us to heal. But you two just dove really deep.
Very deep.
Thank
Yes.
you. What would you say, Chad?
Okay.
What would you say?
So as you asked that question, I thought of my friends who I have talked with about ayahuasca before that were hesitant or scared or had different reasons. So instead of talking to whoever's listening, I'm just going to try to talk to a few of these friends.
They're
So
right
now
here.
you're all my friends, I guess.
Yes.
But there are three things that were reasons why my friends were interested, didn't want to do it. The first was religion. Now, I love our religion. We're very faithful in our faith. And I've never felt a conflict between plant medicine and religion. I figure that truth is truth. And
Yes.
if there is a thing, there is a thing. Like, I don't have to choose between my religion and plant medicines.
Beautiful.
But something that Taito Juanito said, Juanito, the shaman, he said that this is not a religion. This is my culture. This is my family's culture. And these cultural truths and wisdoms have been passed down for 5,000, and obviously I'm paraphrasing, but they've been passed down for 5,000 years in my family and in my bloodline. And we have just learned how to connect with Earth and with nature, and that the planet, the Mother Earth, is so powerful and so amazing that she has these gifts for us that we can now use and take. And my culture, it is our responsibility to help people use these gifts. So I think that that's a big shift in some people's perspective on what they are or not allowed to do, or what they should or shouldn't do based on their faith paradigm. So first, I would counsel people to question their perception of their faith paradigm. Not necessarily question your faith or question what you love and what you believe, but ask, is it really that much of a stretch to think that God created this beautiful earth that has beautiful healing potential, and that he probably wants us, or she probably wants us, to use it and to accept it? So first, there's not a conflict in my mind between religion and plant medicines and ayahuasca. The second is money, because it's not cheap. I think it was $6,000+ per person, plus the flights, plus not working, plus the pain in the butt to get to Costa Rica, right? So
it's a joy to get to
right.
Costa Rica.
I think that the total charge on our credit cards before doing the stem cells, because that was a whole other experience that I highly recommend, but I know is outside of the budget for many people. It was a lot. It was probably $16,000, right, for us to both come and do this.
Depending which room and everything else.
Yeah, depending on the rooms, and there were
fluctuates.
definitely less expensive options.
Sure.
But I'd never go with the less expensive.
Understood.
Right? Like if
So if it comes to money, what would you tell people?
If it comes to money, I would say, why does it come to money? So I have two thoughts on the money. First, money is money comes and money goes.
Correct.
We burn money on all sorts of dumb things, like fancy cars you can afford and hundreds of dollars worth of clothes that you wear to impress people that you don't even like, and all these things that we do with money to try to patch these holes that we have in our souls. And instead of doing that with money, why not just use that
Heal.
money to heal?
Beautiful.
Right? So I think that's a big piece. And also, money is fake. Money isn't real. There was a handful of years ago where we spent close to $120,000 on medical treatments for things that doctors said were impossible. And we disregarded that after 24 different doctors said that this is impossible. 24. So we flew all over the country and actually had plans to come do plant medicine, but then healing experience before, we had to keep going farther down that list. But we spent so much money. And at that point, I was making, I think, $55,000-$60,000 a year, and you were making
negative.
Less. Yeah, I mean, your
I was
business,
building a business,
and Brittany was
negative
building
money.
a business. So
Yeah.
we had just bought a house, put all money in. So we didn't have cash. Our savings account was like $15,000, right? And somehow over the next year, we still spent about $120 because
It's funny how we do that, isn't it?
I prayed. I said, God, I need to do this for my wife. We need to figure this out.
Yes.
I am going to spend the money. I need you to provide it for me.
Beautiful.
I need you to make this possible. And he did. And I do, like professionally, I'm in marketing. So I said, these are my skills. I need you to make this possible. And he did. I got a massive raise. I got 6 or 7 different consulting projects that just popped out of the woodwork for people that needed websites or people that needed email campaigns or
But
people
you
that
were
needed.
very good at manifesting.
Yeah.
We
Brilliant.
learned how. Yeah.
Because it's
Brilliant.
necessary.
Of course.
If you don't manifest, then you end up with someone else's manifestation and you work in someone's factory.
Well said. Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
Someone's manifesting your life.
Right.
It's either you or someone that is using you, right? So the money, it's a sacrifice, and I understand it's a sacrifice, and even now it's still a sacrifice for us spending that kind of money on this. And
it's pretty important.
If you need to heal,
yes,
you can tell God that you need to heal. Make a way possible for me to afford this, and that happened with us years ago.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I know I'm talking a long time, but there's the religion aspect that I think merges the money aspect, and then there's the fear. Because you hear so many horror stories about ayahuasca. Oftentimes people that are using ayahuasca, and I say using because they're using it incorrectly, like in a college dorm, and using it as a party drug, and that doesn't work. Or they go to a shaman, or they go to a ritual somewhere in a different place that is a little more off the beaten path. And there are some incredible healing facilities in these different countries, but they go somewhere that doesn't have the infrastructure, that isn't medically licensed, that doesn't have this whole crew, that doesn't have 20 medicine workers in every ceremony. There was like one medicine worker for every 3 people.
Every time I needed somebody, there was somebody with me. And multiple nights, I needed somebody with me for hours just to feel safe and just to have them help me remember how to breathe and use the tools that I knew.
Which this is the foundation of Rythmia, which is so important, is that safety. So thank you for saying that. So that assists towards the fear that we can move through, like move straight through it, because this is what's really going on.
The fear about, ayahuasca putting me into this, far out place and not being able to come back to my body, and all the horror stories that I've heard that I was anxious about on the plane ride coming down here. Those fears completely dissolved in the first ceremony.
Beautiful.
When I noticed that as soon as someone would stand up off their mattress and walk around, a medicine worker, somehow they had this coordinated, would stand up and kind of shadow follow them to make sure they were okay. And as soon as the old gentleman that probably weighed 280 pounds stood up right next to me and was wobbling back and forth, and I was worried that he was going to fall on someone was right there. Immediately. So all of the fear about what is going to happen to me in the ceremony, am I going to be safe? Am I going to come back and, have chaos brain? Those probably happen in other places, but I don't think they happen here.
Thank you.
And something I didn't know is that I had never done any huge psychedelic trip before. I microdosed and things like that, but I was worried that I was going to lose myself. And because of some of the medical things and the health issues I've had, I have actually felt lost in my mind and my experience before. And so that's my greatest fear. So I was really nervous about that, but I'm so pleased that on this medicine, not only there's all kinds of body sensation and mind sensations. It is a psychedelic experience, but my consciousness was there directing the entire thing. I was more me than I've ever been, especially in those moments where I felt like my body was detached or just experiencing like lots of energy and tingling. I was me, and I feel like I'm so clear on who my consciousness and my mind is.
Yes.
And that was a hugely beautiful realization and a relief to me, because I didn't lose myself here. I found it.
Oh, that was so good.
Cool.
I'm bringing us to a wonderful close here on that. Is beautiful. I didn't lose myself here. I found myself.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you so much. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for diving deep. Thank you for being all you are. This is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. How does it get better than this? Bliss, happiness, hope, faith, trust, and bringing this all back home. These two beauties, Chad and Brittany, are evidence of all that occurs, all the growing edges we move through here. So we invite you to come to Rythmia Life Advancement Center. It may be an adventure to get to Costa Rica. It's worth the adventure. However many planes it takes you, trains to get here. We are here, and we'd love to see you. And maybe you'll see these two gems when you come back.
Oh, we'll be back. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I didn't believe, like I said this, I came here without hope, and now I have hope. I didn't believe that I could heal. I learned that in one of the ceremonies, and I started crying because I just felt this void of faith, and it was scary.
Yeah.
And that night I healed, and now I have hope. And knowing what I know now, I would have come here immediately. Like as soon as, I wish that people really understood how much healing is actually possible, because we live in these paradigms where the healing I believe can happen is based on my past experience, and it's not based on what happens here.
Correct.
So I hope that anyone watching this that hasn't experienced true healing, and maybe doesn't believe they can heal or doesn't believe there's hope, should come here and experience it. And
Thank you.
if all it is writing a check or working extra shifts or figuring out a way to make it happen, like I think that you, my friends,
get here.
I think that you owe it to yourself to spend the rest of your life with joy and with hope and with healing, instead of living the same poisonous stories that you've been living.
Come to Rythmia. We'd love to see you. Have a beautiful Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Thank you both. I know I'm going to see you soon. And if you get on a plane right now, you could be here by tomorrow, and I'll be the guest speaker this week, and I'd love to see you. So get here soon. All right. Have a gorgeous day. Ciao. And I get to go just like that. And make sure I'm doing it right. Hold on, everybody.